Hello everyone, welcome back to Dragonfly Engineering. So this week we have a little bit of a different topic where we went to Angels Camp, California late summer this last year to check out some old gold mining technology and some old wagon technology. Basically the state-of-the-art in 1860 or the 1849 era of gold mining and living up in the Sierra Nevadas of Northern California. So we went to this museum in Angels Camp, California, which is one of the many gold mining towns along the ridge of the Sierras. And this is the experience that we had. Enjoy. Back in the day and today. Steam boiler there. Got this ore cart here at Angels Camp, Calaveras County in Northern California. Wow, you should check this. This must be sprayed on, or is this real? I think it's sparkly spray paint on these rocks. 1860. Here's April. Hello, April. Oh, look at it, just cast it right into the concrete. The Pelton wheel. Steam tractor. Just Jenny. It's got a ballast box on the back.
Steve, you want me to get you the ticket?
Oh yeah, if you don't mind. All right, let's go in. Very precise early scale, probably for doing assays of ore. I got you on film. Line. Laundry ringer. Must be Mark Twain's chair.
Wow. This typewriter.
Is this a gambling machine or a jukebox? Or a music box? This is the ancient furnace. Did they do copper or gold here? Oh, a gold melting furnace. This is actually it's probably still a usable crucible. I got one of these, I should use it. Yeah, it's kind of lost its bearings a bit. This is one of those monitors, high pressure water sprayer that sprays the side of the mountain into a river, and then they extract ore from sluices at the base of the mountain, basically from all the mud flow from this sprayer. That's just a big old transfer case. Pretty nice thread. Oh, that's the gate to open or close the high pressure water that shoots into the monitor through this pipe and then this adjusting pipe. Hindi Ironworks, San Francisco, California. The monitor. Oh, it's not plugged off either. Actually, some flow adjusters are in there, it looks like. Here we got a water wheel power station.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is...
Actually, like it turns here and the buckets are in here.
Oh, so that thing in the front wasn't an excavator, but it was a water wheel.
Yeah, but go in there. And,
So this is a high pressure water wheel? Oh, okay.
yeah, see?
Yeah, so that thing at the road was converted. Oh, there's a lizard. Converted water power from this turbine into electricity with this huge thing. There's the electric coils.
Yeah.
I wonder what vintage this thing is. Oh, and then here's the voltmeter. 140 volts. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Westinghouse Corporation. That was probably amps. And then synchronoscope. Oh, okay, so it was one phase AC power.
It's 1899.
Oh, yeah?
And then 1902, they added some more generators.
Huh.
And then 1908, the wheel was added.
This big wheel?
Hmm.
Interesting. So this has been here. I mean, this is like original location. So this was a mine in operation. I mean, they didn't, that's not new concrete. So I wonder, well, maybe it is. I don't know.
It says it was replaced by an outdoor hydropower plant in 1952. Does that mean it was in operation until 1952?
Maybe.
Wow.
Oh, here's its original location. I guess, yeah, they transplanted it here. PG&E donated this. Oh, here's the specs.
This is neat.
400 revolutions. Two phase. 750 amps. 500 volts. Neat. Donated by PG&E. Yeah, so here's the power coupling. What did I say, 400 amps? Oh, no, 500 volts, 750 amps. Came out of this behemoth. Oh, and it's got a huge casting for the main bearing. One big old cast iron frame. And then the water impeller looks like plate steel and cast base. Someone actually drilled that hole, hand drilled that, all those individual holes, and then knocked the knockout out. Neat. Yeah, so high pressure water from a high altitude came into this impeller, which drove this 750 amp, 500 volt, two-phase generator. And then the water basically got picked up by all of these buckets inside of this big impeller.
Thereabouts. Captain North, you realize we got to make camp. So the Studebaker family, when they came to America from Europe, Mr. Studebaker was a wheelwright. He was a wheel maker, and he taught his boys how to make wagons. They became one of the premier wagon makers in America for the common man. And one of the things in the bigger cities, to alleviate mud in the streets, which is a big problem in the wintertime, they would put brick or cobblestone. Well, one of the things, one thing leads to another. Horses don't care where they go, so they had to wash the streets down. And everything that washed it. When these came out of the factory, you could see this was painted green. In all the old black and white movies, you don't realize that the vehicles were all painted like modern cars. They were painted colorful. The wheels were red and pinstripe. One of the problems they had back east is very humid. If the wood was only aged for a year, by the time you got out here in this dry climate, the wheels started to separate. So they were constantly packing leather and whatever. Sometimes they'd cut strips off the canvas top and pack it inside the wheel to keep the wheels. They had these wagons. They realized what a rough and hard ride it was. They weigh about 2,000 pounds. So the spring wagon was developed, and it's a stem of wood that's reinforced with steel. And then these leaf springs were added for a little bit of cushion. And so they went from 2,000 pounds to about 500 pounds. So with that, a smaller brake was added. A bigger wagon had to have a drive on the left side, back in old. And a team of mules or a team of oxen can only go about 10 to 12 miles a day. And all the towns up here are separated about 10 to 12 miles apart. And that's how fast news traveled, about 10 miles a day. Put them up and then come back. So probably once a month that he back on. About the 6th or 7th generation grandmother came in with her grandchildren. And she said, when I was a little girl, our family all went to church in this every Sunday. Like, oh, that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
There was a mistake in the story. She tried to correct me on it. It's in print. It's got to be right. Come on. This is a stage wagon, not a stage coach. It had no cover. So it was the cheap ride between Murphy's and Angel's Camp. And it took him all day to come down the hill. And then he wanted full ridership. It would take him next week before he'd go back up the hill. And so you had that wood on wood, which is really hard. The spring wagon was a little easier. So on some of these old wagons, if you were up here working the wagon all day, working the animals, and dust and dirt gets up in the hub of the wheel, that wheel's going all day. The squeaky wheel gets taken care of when you get home. So these are wheel jacks. So they would lift that wheel up, and then all wheels are put on with a square nut. So this was the universal jack, wheel jack. So you take that off, and then they didn't have petroleum grease. All they had was animal fat. So they would clean that real good, have a bucket of animal fat, pretty disgusting, and grease that, put the wheel back on, and they have to constantly go around and tighten everything up. You know, some of the people that came out west, if all they had was a ranch truck like this and couldn't afford a new Studebaker or anything like that, they just made them work and would build up the sides and make them whatever they could. So one of the things when those wagon trains were coming out in the evening, they always circled the wagons. Now, some of the things in movies are entertainment and they're not correct, but some things are historically correct. And so they brought beef and dairy cattle with them all the time. And so what they wanted to do when they encircled the wagons was enclose those animals because it was a food supply. So when they took the stem and unleashed the oxen. So one of the main things, the front wagon, when he circled around, no matter where he ended up on the circle, when he unleashed the animals, he took that stem and aimed it the direction they were going. This is a very common Chinese cart. They would weave baskets and have different sections. So if they were a gardener, they'd have sections for different produce. A laundry bag would have a real tight weave with lids so it wouldn't get dusty. Sometimes they'd even use these to pick up people's trunks to take them from the stage to the hotel or whatever. Anything for a couple pennies. Constantly having to work like that. I'll pass this one up. So there would be, when they had the team of mules, they would have to estimate how much weight they had, how many mules they needed. So when the mules are all strung up, they can pull. But when they're going downhill, all that strapping goes forward, so they can't slow the wagon down, so they had to have brakemen. So there'd be a big brake pad like this, and the guys would have big bars that they would pull on to put the brake on, and they'd dig their heels in and probably drug them down the hill. But that was the only way to slow the wagon down as they came down. So the guys up front that were working the animals here, they would have persuaders, little whips or whatnot to keep the animals going. When you're working that team, they became known as Teamsters.
Hmm. And the
If you
brakeman
look
is
at
the same as
Teamsters
train
logo,
brakeman?
it's 2 horse heads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the brakeman is the same name that train.
Yeah, that's
brakeman have.
the brakeman. I think they went about the same time, got that same name.
Oh, okay. So is it generally used term?
So I'd mentioned that the museum that's right there, those are full of.
Oh,
they
the
used to
shot-
have those in every store so you could reload your buckshot. So the shotgun was more common than a big, full-size bullet because people were shooting small game like rabbit and birds, and it was easier to hit with a shotgun than a single shot. And one of these 50 caliber would blow the animal apart. So
There were many things.
unless you're going out for big game, that wasn't.
Yeah, my dad used to squirrel hunt with a 12 gauge. We'd
This,
get half
we-
squirrels.
That was from a guy who carried the mail up over the pass with those handmade skis. Pretty cool.
Huh.
This is kind of interesting. The slot machines originally were gumball machines. So
Oh.
if you got cherries or plum, that was the flavor gumball you got.
Oh, really?
And you can see it's the Bell Fruit Gum Company. So
Now this is
they
a gumball
realized they
machine
could
or
make
a
more
slot
money
machine?
as a gambling machine, so they converted them. But gambling's illegal in California. So what they would do is put these in saloons and give drink tokens to the customer for what they won instead of.
Oh.
But if somebody got a the jackpot, the 3 bars, the gum company stayed attached over here. The bartender would buy a pack of gum, hide a 5 spot under it, and pay him off. that way.
Oh, this is a wax recorder?
Yeah, those are original Edison recorders at the top, and those are original recordings in the canisters right there.
Oh, those are the wax drums. It's like a really hard
Yeah.
wax.
They're becoming quite brittle at this point, but
Neat. Movie
Projector,
projector?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
it has a different name.
Like an oil lamp or something? Or was it art?
Kaleidoscope.
Oh. Huh. Neat.
And it was a hand crank. When there was no sound, it didn't matter how fast you went through.
Right.
And they would use a candle in the back to magnify the lighting. So
Oh.
they still use candle power as how strong a projector is.
Oh, okay. No arc lamp. I guess that was much later.
Years ago, they realized if they push the sound down through here, they could come out through this baffle. So
Oh.
these things are on like a clock spring. So you have to wind them up.
Uh-huh.
You get them spinning. And then when it's playing, that's your volume control.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, by opening the shutters. Wow, that's pretty neat. It's amazing how it works. And this is Victrola?
Victrola, RCA. And it came
Oh,
from
it's got
Sherman
the,
and Clay. Sherman and Clay was a big music company out of San Francisco for years and years. They just recently closed up.
it still has the dog listening to they use that logo today.
Yeah. So, excuse me, I didn't mean
Oh,
to
that's all right.
get my arm in there, but that all matches up.
Oh, okay. Now, did they sell the records and the player as a kit? Or you bought records separately?
You know, you had to buy an album. You can see how that album came about.
Oh,
It was
okay.
An album full of records.
And you buy that, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they probably gave you a record with the
Yeah, and that would have
purchase.
been your storage for your
Oh,
albums.
okay, down in there. Oh,
Yeah.
so there's several albums in there. Neat. Wow, so
Pretty
the cable
amazing
cars
job.
in San Francisco were powered from up here
Yeah.
by water
Well, it's the
power?
only rivers that were flowing close
Oh.
enough.
So this was the rig that hauled this generator
Yeah.
up, huh? Wow.
That's really cool.
They make it just for this?
Look at the size of the wheels. Yeah, just the wheels themselves are so heavy.
Yeah.
These are all connected, right?
No, this one was used for the main generator, and then they have a separate paddle wheel unit that was half as big, and so this one was used for the paddle.
That's a generator.
Yeah, and they took 10 of those. So they would take so many mules to have to drag those down to the river.
Oh, so 10
those
runs to
mules,
bring all that up.
Mules are very smart. Horses cannot do that. Mules are much smarter. And if you take a mare with a jack, you get a very good mule. If you take a stallion with a jenny, you get all the wrong traits, and that's where stubborn as a mule and all those bad things will come about. So they realize that over time, how to breed them. So they would be trained and have to be marked and strung up together as a team. So when they made a turn on these big wagons like that, they have to step over the center line together. And they make the turn and then step back over. Horses would get all tangled up and dance around, and they would be able to do that. So on this, they would put bells on there, and they would put it on, and say, hey, roll down, and keep walking. When the bell stopped, they all knew to stop. So the guy your ticket to travel, they would ask you, please don't talk religion or politics. It just causes trouble.
That's
And
nice.
ladies are on board, no cigars, no swearing, no drinking. Kind of funny. If you chew tobacco, you have to sit in the back seat, no spitting from the front seat. Don't point out where we were robbed last week. It only makes everyone nervous. The driver would always tell the riders, you know, when I swap out the horses, you get out and stretch your legs, but when I'm ready to go, I go. I don't warn you. So everybody would just stay in their seat. Nope, not getting up on.
So when they say on board, that's because you're on the board of the stagecoach? Or is that that origin someplace else?
All those are very simple, yeah, when you think about where those expressions come from.
Neat.
At a bar. So back in the old time, when you got 86, you didn't get kicked out. That meant nothing over 86 proof. No more 100 proof. You're getting too drunk.
Oh.
But like 86 proof won't do it, huh? So one of the things in the big cities during Prohibition, you go to a speakeasy and you knock on the door, they go, who's there? And you have to have the password. Well, if you were hopping from speakeasy to speakeasy, but towards the end of the night, you're getting pretty drunk and silly, the knock knock, and you give a silly answer as a password, that became knock knock jokes.
That's pretty good.
What do you got planned for the rest of the day?
Odd fellows. Going to Utica.
We gotta get some lunch.
Utica Reservoir. We're going to Utica Reservoir.
Oh, okay. Well, that's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
It'll be nice and cool.
Here we're looking at a early electric arc furnace for melting steel. And if I'm not mistaken, so here's the inside of the furnace itself. Let's see if we can get the camera inside. Oh yeah. So those are probably graphite electrodes that melt steel inside of this big furnace. By just pumping massive amounts of voltage and amperage into these, look to be graphite electrodes, similar to the EDM machine that I use at work. And then I guess these 3 pulleys set the descent velocity of the graphite rods into this big furnace that melts the steel using electric arcs. Essentially a massive arc welder that creates a pool of molten steel inside of this furnace. There's all the refractory bricks at the top. And then you pour your molten steel out of this hole. Here's the other end. I still got steel slag on the side. Yeah, it's a big arc furnace.
Nice.
Those are big rods of graphite
That's cool.
that go in and arc and melt the metal. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
A little bit of a fixer-upper here. Let's check out this engine. Liberty truck. Oh, Ingersoll Rand air compressor. That's cool. Oh, this is for powering the drills for drilling and blasting mine shafts. So here's the diesel engine, I assume. And then here's the air compressor. The Ingersoll Rand has been around a long time. Oh, here's a compressed air tank. Oh, look at that. Ingersoll Rand. You see these in a lot of abandoned gold mines. Old tractor. Pan scraper for excavating earth, overburden. Whatever this is. Looks like a hay baler. Oh yeah. Thresher. Here we got a pneumatic drill for drilling blast holes in mine shafts, which is operated by that Ingersoll Rand air compressor down there, that one right there. Provided compressed air for this pneumatic drill. And I don't see any drill shafts. Here's another drill shaft, or a drill, pneumatic drill, that's on a ceiling jack, basically. That bolt. Then we got an ore bucket to haul the overburden out of mine shafts. You guys have like a small version of this, and then you donated one to me, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that's a big old printing block press. It's kind of interesting ribbing on the back there. Has Marcy seen this? Oh, good.
This whole place looks like stuff. My dad had all this stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he have that huge, like,
The billow thing?
you know, that big grinding wheel?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you had one of those?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Oh, and the bellows for the
no,
forge?
he didn't have a bellow.
Oh.
No.
Did he do forge work? Or blacksmithing work?
He did do blacksmithing, yeah. I mean, not when he was younger.
Oh, I see. Ah. Look at this guy with his tattoos. I like that chainsaw. And the ubiquitous ore cart. I guess that's a kibble. Pulling up ore out of the mine shaft. This is one of the local mines here in Angels. Oh, okay, here's one of the drill bits on the pneumatic drill. You can see what's up there. a standard pneumatic jackhammer drill. Oh,
What is this?
oh, what is it?
A hog oiler?
Hog oiler?
Yeah, it says hogs would quickly learn to rub against this to oil themselves to keep insects away.
Oh, interesting.
I've never heard of that.
So you fill it with oil and it spins around. Oh, I guess the oil is in the
Yeah.
tank or the
It had an
tub.
insecticidal oil.
Interesting. I wonder what that oil was.
Mm.
Menthol oil or something.
God, it's hot in here.
Yeah. This is almost exactly like the cider press that I was doomed to operate when I was a kid.
Really?
Cider mill. Yep.
Wow.
It was a little bigger and it had an electric motor and a belt drive, but yeah, it was like this. And then you'd stick the bar across these posts to get more leverage to crush the cider pulp that was in the container. They don't have any of the spoked buckets that you drop the cider pulp in. Oh, that's a way of crushing the cider or the apples. This is another chopper. We had the posts like that.
Something like this.
No, it's like a barrel with open slats on the side, and then you'd have two of them. You'd have the first barrel here, and then the apple pulp would drop in. And then you slide the barrel to the second position, and then you crush with like a top round board that crushes it down, and all the cider pours out here. And then while you're crushing this one, you stick the first slatted barrel back over here to continue doing your operation. Yeah, you can see the slats. They got real fine slats in that one though. That's pretty much it. Except they had a horse. I was the horse. Oh, for collecting hay?
Yeah. I think I've seen my dad.
But then there's probably a side. Oh, there's the side over there.
Yeah, I've seen my dad. do the
Razor
whole
sharp
process.
side.
Using one of those.
Oh, yeah, there's a hay baler.
And then there was the other
rake,
thing
not
that
a
was
baler.
just a stick with another stick, shorter stick on a rope
Yeah.
that he would whack the stuff with. I forget what it was called.
Thrasher?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a hit and miss McCormick and Deering. Leather drive to probably a water pump. Yeah, they got some neat stuff in here. Now this is a rower, self-raking reaper and mower. Oh, so it mowed and it stacked the hay so it would dry out. So for my 50th birthday, I won an anvil, similar to this one. And if you had a metal ball, you're supposed to bounce the metal ball off this, and if it rings, then it's good. If it duds, it's bad. And the ball needs to bounce back almost as high as you dropped it. The recoil, so you drop a ball 1 foot or 12 inches and it bounces back like 11 inches, then it's got a good recoil. And it should ring as well. If it duds, that means basically it's delaminated along here. So it's like a leaf spring at that point and it can't do its job. According to the Essential Craftsman on YouTube. Oh, here's another one. And he was talking about, you can tell which ones are cast and which ones are forged. And I think this hole means that this one's forged, because they'd stick like a rod in here and then hammer forge it all. And yeah, you can even see, like, I could be wrong actually, but I'll have to rewatch his show. But these are for the tongs to grab and then hold it while they're hammer forging this thing. The little tong hole right there. But this one is cast, because you can see there's just casting features and no tong hole. So forged ones I think are better than cast ones, but cast ones have more of a thud, and sometimes that's better. And that's hard to forge, especially inset letters like that. All right, that's my 2 cents on blacksmith tools. But I think it'd be fun to do. What is that thing, Sierra? Can you figure out what that is? Is that a kitty? Is that a real ugly cat? There's another one. What is that? Hey, bye.
Stare off.
It's the old Mexican standoff here. Oh. How does it go for? Is that rosemary right there? Or just some bush? Ow, dog. My foot. Time for breakfast, Mr. Tortoise. You hear that scraping pan sound? There it comes. I almost brew beer out of this alfalfa. All right. This is tortoise food. Alfalfa, I guess, ground, and then like collard greens.
Yep, collard greens. That's some good stuff. Here comes Massimo. That one's name is Barky,
This is Barky.
and this is Massimo.
Oh. Got it, April. Oh. They do have a singular purpose, don't they? The hover walking.
You see what he's doing? He's like, why am I not going over?
He's probably blurting out all sorts of turtle profanities.
Yeah.
He's still trying
I've
to.
seen it. He comes up here and tries to eat this.
Oh
And
yeah.
you can see where he's done it. Let me give him a piece. Hey. You like succulents?
I'll take that. That looks tasty. And purple. Probably has a different flavor.
He's got a good old chomp. Should give that turtle some Doritos.
It does sound like they're eating chips, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna do a backflip there.
He's him out.
Oh, Massimo, you eat too slow.
Oh my gosh, that turtle is. There he comes. Oh, he might pick your screen.
Eat my lens off. Whoop. Hope he doesn't bite my leg.
Ooh.
He's just smelling me, I think.
Oh, he's smelling nasally here.
Please don't take a chunk out.
Sorry, Massimo, I'm gonna steal a piece of your greens.
Oh, thank you.
You're gonna onto your lap.
Ah.
Oh boy. There he goes.
That's smelling good.
I wanna see him get in your lap again.
Ah. Ooh, look at that tongue.